We were elected to run the affairs of this town, to manage the finances. It's time that we make a decision. And that's just all. But if we can do so with a referendum, I am much more comfortable with that.
I'm going to recognize Ms. Ann Hoover, but I just want to, and then Mr. Eden, then we're going to move on. But I think there's some people in this community, if the price was $500,000, they'd vote no. And I think some people, like myself, that came in at 3.1, I'd probably vote yes. So I think, and remember, folks, they're going to be in the voting polls. They haven't got time to read an essay, so I just want to make it simple. That's my only reason for throwing that number out there. I'm going to recognize Ann Hoover and then Richard Eden. Ms. Hoover, you had a point.
I just wanted to say, I can't think big money like that. I don't deal with, but I think we need a bathroom. I understand that.
That will unite us. I know that will unite us.
I think that somebody had said that they would put in a bathroom, but they don't want to do it because they don't know what the heck the council's gonna be doing. They flip-flop so much.
Fair point. Fair point. I flip-flopped on this issue. I was a Dave McCormick fan in 2009.
So I would like to say we could take one small thing that we will do, and then, okay, what's the next thing is needed most?
Right.
Y'all know where I live in that house on Second Street. It was rental, Mama had rented it for years, and when I moved back here, and I buried my husband out here in the cemetery, and I brought my family back, and I said, this is where I'm gonna live. Well, they opened the door, and there were beer bottles and all kind of stuff in there, and urine smell, and a bird had gotten in and flown all around. There were mice, and it was just a mess. And they said, "You gonna live here?" Well, we all got in and we cleaned it up. Now there are plenty of things. It's not a high in house. I mean, it was just put together by somebody working in the silver mill.
Right, right. But we're glad you stayed.
It's 100 years, about 100 years old now. It keeps the rain off me. We can do the armory that way too, and we can use it. And that's what we want to do. And as we use it, we'll get more money.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's not think so big, but think of what little bit I can do.
I'm going to recognize Richard Eden, and before I do, I want to just say that I want to commend everybody here tonight. The spirit in this room is good. We've been through a lot together, many of us here. The spirit tonight is good, and I would like to keep that spirit going. Mr. Eden?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I wanted to repeat for the full council that I worked as a volunteer during the Arts and Crafts Festival. We had a table inside the building raising money and also taking signatures from people who supported the renovation of the Armory for a community use. I collected over 295 signatures without a whole lot of trouble. The table itself gathered a lot of positive attention by people who came to Blackstone, came to the Arts and Crafts Festival, and came in the Armory. There's a lot of support out there. There's a lot of support from inside the town. There's a lot of support from outside the town. But the important thing to me, because I had people ask me, can I sign this? I don't live in Blackstone. I said, absolutely. I said, because these are people who come to Blackstone, they come to events, they would use the Armory if it were renovated for community reuse. They would spend money in town while they're here. They get a tank of gas, pick up a meal on the way out of town. There's a lot of positive feel from the people that I saw. So there is a whole lot of support. Proceed with your survey. I think that's fine if that's what everybody wants to do. But there's a lot of support out there. The architect, to reaffirm what Janet said, the architect who spoke during the committee the other day suggested that if financing the entire project over a 10-year term presents financial problems, a range of $20,000 to $25,000, break it up into sections. Break it up in half. Break it up in thirds. He suggested to do the front half of the building first, the main portion second. Save the back of the building. Maybe don't do anything to the basement back there, but break it up. If you break it up, you take a $20,000 to $25,000 a month obligation and turn it into a $10,000 to $15,000 a month obligation. Finance, do what you can do within 5 years. I will promise you that if you were to do that, commit to a 5-year project to do the front portion of the building, get the building in use, get a bathroom in there, have things going on there, I will promise you that several things will happen during that first 5 years. First off, there will be new avenues to finance. New possibilities will come along to help finance the remainder of the building. Okay? You will gather additional support from the people because the people are using the building. But your biggest problem is going to be that after 5 years, you're going to have a problem fitting everything into the building that wants to be in the building. I can almost promise you that. I can almost promise you that. There's a lot of people standing on the fence. What are they going to do? What are they not going to do? Okay? I wanted to stand before you this evening and share with you my thoughts on this. Don't get hung up on a guaranteed 10-year obligation. For those of us who live on the most guaranteed of all guarantees in life, we never walk out the back door in the morning. You know that, and I know that, because there are no guarantees that you'll come home. Okay?
You make great points,
So-
Mr. Eaton,
so-
but we're not
so-
entrepreneurs. We're stewards of the town
That's
finances.
fine. Obligate to a 5-year, whatever you can afford to do with a 5-year lease.
Well, if
And
Crew wants
work-
to
and
build
work towards the
Disneyland and we
future.
can go there for free, I'm all in. So,
See,
you know,
and grant sources can help out along the way. There's a lot of things that can help out along the way. But break it up in halves or in thirds.
I think the question is to be or not to be. And once that question is answered, then I'm well rich. But once that question is answered, I think maybe we'd move forward. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Eaton.
Sending the resolution that you adopt.
I have one last speaker. Yes, ma'am.
I want to also say I didn't work long down there because I've been sick, but I did go in and work and talking to some of the people in the armory that set up tables that come here, some of them, they can't believe that they may not be able to use that armory for arts and crafts anymore, and they may not come back to Blackstone. You know, so I don't know what the solution is, but I know it has a lot of possibility, a lot of that we could do, like he says, in increments, but we know we have to have a handicap bathroom in there.
Right.
We have a little room for it.
Right.
We can get somebody to fix up the 2 bathrooms on the front and do, like he said, just do the front part and do the others in increments as we can.
Thank you, Ms. Lespier. And then one other thing, before I let Ms. Early wrap it up, you know, we were talking earlier, Ms. Bonnell, about, you know, the price, making sure the right numbers on the referendum. I think if you get the general price, and I'm just throwing 2 out there, I think that's where the educational campaign on the part of the advocates, you know, just like any campaign, there's information is key. I think that's going to be up to elected officials and supporters of the Army and critics of the Army to state their case to, you know, maybe some door-to-door campaigning for the Army. Not for the candidates, but for the Army. Candy Early, then I'm going to wrap this up because we got 3 other items left.
I just wanted to say that I hope everybody does realize, because I've done, I think, 6 events for the Massey Cancer Center in the last 2 months. And it's been at the Estes Center and different places all over Southside Virginia. And I mean, the Armory could be used for things like that. I mean, the Cancer Center pays. I mean, they pay to rent these places to do these things. And they're during the week, at night. So there would be a lot of income from things like that.
Programs also that we're not getting that we might start getting.
True, I mean, these are a lot, I mean, Polly that I work with, I mean, they don't come from Nottaway, and I
Right.
don't exactly know why.
They're in
But
Lawrenceville.
I think there's a lot of, well, I've been all over, not just Lawrenceville, but, I mean, I think you could get a lot of programs that you're not getting if you had a facility that was usable. And they pay to use the facility, they don't do it.
That's helpful. That's helpful.
Just 10 seconds.
Vicky will be the last speaker. I fibbed 3 times. Vicky will be our.
The only thing that has not also been stated here, in any of these that I've heard, let's not forget that once we get a decision made as to do we do it or do we not, we have a huge volunteer base. It may be small in numbers, but as far as our commitment to it, some of these costs are going to be able to be deferred by the work that we can do, that we're gonna be willing to do, and that we know of others who are willing to come in and do things too. So I think we need to also, while we're hashing this whole thing out, remember that there are things that can be done through the volunteers, and that's what's gotten this whole thing
No doubt.
this far, and I think we need to just keep that in mind.
It's a great point, Vicky, but you've got to remember the liability issue.
I know.
So just
I
keep that in
understand.
mind. That's why I asked it to get back to my committee, because I've spent so much time with you. I'm well versed on what you're saying, and but we do have to remember. I know it sounds simple that we show up with paintbrushes, but we've got liability. Somebody gets hurt or whatever. That's why we.
Let's not forget, you got Habitat for Humanity, that's
Right.
liability, those are volunteers, so there has to be a way to get around it.
Sure.
Volunteers are what gets a majority of things done, not only in little communities, all over the world.
It's a great
So
point. I'm
it-
sure there's
I'm
an
just
insurance
saying,
policy somewhere.
It's
I'm-
there. It's
you know.
there and we can work with it.
Good point. Good point. All right. Absolutely, Danny P. put the windows in. That's true. Folks, thank you all for coming. Please feel free to stay. We've got the next item on our agenda is a transportation resolution. And I thank y'all so much. And please, we got just 3 more items, so you're welcome to stay.
Can we take a 2-minute
We'll stand at recess for 2 minutes. We're stand at recess. That was your net, Meredith?